Most men think they know how to ask a woman for intimacy. But the hard truth? They don't actually ask, they beg. And that, brother, is why she turns away. That's why her smile fades. That's why she pulls back instead of leaning in. And here's the thing. It's not because she's complicated or that intimacy is some forbidden secret land you can't reach. It's because the way most men initiate kills the flame of desire before it even sparks. You see, most men think asking makes them polite. They believe hesitation signals respect. But in her eyes, it signals weakness. And weakness doesn't draw her in, it makes you invisible. You become the man she can rely on, but never the man she burns for. Now listen carefully, because today we're flipping the entire script. I'm about to reveal a psychological truth that very few men ever grasp. Female desire isn't something you request like asking for a favor. It's not something you carefully negotiate, like asking to borrow her car. Female desire is ignited, it's triggered, it's awakened on a level deeper than logic. So let me ask you, are you the nice guy who waits endlessly, hoping she'll eventually make a move? Are you the one who plans dates, pays for everything, listens patiently, and yet somehow ends up in the dreaded friend zone every single time? If that sounds familiar, then pay close attention, because this is your wake-up call. Here's the reality she'll never tell you outright. A woman makes up her mind about you in minutes, not in months. Before the second or third date even arrives, she already knows whether she feels the spark or not. What determines that? Not your wallet, not your gifts, not the number of dinners you buy. It's your energy. It's your ability to lead, to interpret her unspoken signals, and to act with calm, deliberate masculine intent. Fail here, and you'll find yourself replaying the same painful question again and again. What did I do wrong? The truth is painfully simple. She wants you to lead. Not with desperation, not with nervous neediness, but with unshakable confidence. That's the energy that provokes desire. And this confidence, this magnetic pull, isn't something you learn by memorizing clever lines or by copying cheesy moves. It can't be borrowed from a YouTube short or faked in a bar. It's forged through mindset, through presence, and through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Because the Stoic man doesn't collapse when faced with rejection. He doesn't chase validation from her or from anyone else. And paradoxically, that's precisely what makes him so attractive. He doesn't need her approval, which makes her instinctively crave his presence. So, in this video, we're breaking down the silent psychological triggers that awaken her desire. You'll see how your very presence, before you even speak, can inspire her to take the next step. And most importantly, you'll learn the secret of shifting from the needy man who waits to the magnetic man she feels pulled toward. Stop begging for intimacy like a child pleading for candy. It's time to step into your masculine power and ignite desire instead of suffocating it. Pillar 1. The energy she craves. Let's be brutally honest here. A woman does not crave weak energy. She doesn't dream about uncertainty. She doesn't daydream about hesitation. You may truly believe you're being respectful by carefully asking permission at every step, by tiptoeing around her boundaries, by making sure she's comfortable in every tiny interaction. But here's the uncomfortable truth. What she perceives, deep in her subconscious, is not respect. It's doubt. It's insecurity. It's the quiet signal that says, I'm not sure of myself, and I need you to tell me if I'm allowed to want you. And this is not even something she consciously thinks through. It's instinct. It's biological. Her body reacts long before her mind formulates words. She feels a lack of foundational masculine strength, and her instinctive reaction is to pull back. This is where so many men get trapped. With the best of intentions, they confuse kindness with attraction. They confuse politeness with desire. They think, if I'm nice enough, if I'm attentive enough, if I listen long enough, she'll eventually fall for me. But what that actually produces is friendship. Yes, it builds trust. Yes, it might even inspire sympathy. But it almost never creates raw, visceral sexual desire. And when she rejects you, she's not rejecting your worth as a human being. She's rejecting the energy you're radiating, the energy of uncertainty, of seeking permission, of broadcasting I need you to approve of me before I can act. This is the fundamental misunderstanding most men have about female desire. Female desire is not drawn to hesitation. It is drawn to strength. Now let's be very clear. When I say strength, I do not mean aggression. I do not mean dominance in a harsh or oppressive sense. What I mean is direction, clarity, the quiet, unshakable confidence of a man who knows what he wants, knows where he's going, and doesn't require external approval to take a step forward. Consider this. Do women fantasize about the man who nervously whispers, is it okay if I kiss you now? Absolutely not. Her fantasies, though she may never say this out loud, are about the man whose steady gaze, deliberate touch, and assured movement stir something primal in her. That gut-level feeling doesn't come from clever words. It comes directly from his internal state. And this internal state cannot be faked. You cannot copy it. You cannot mimic it. You must genuinely cultivate it. If you are full of self-doubt, terrified of rejection, constantly measuring your worth against her approval, your body will reveal it. Your posture will slouch. Your gaze will falter. Your gestures will betray you. And even if you manage to say the right things, she will sense the lack of inner power. What happens then? She files you into the category of nice, safe, dependable, but not desirable. She keeps you as a friend, maybe a confidant, maybe someone to lean on, but never the man she craves late at night. Let me give you a scenario, one you've probably lived or seen. A man takes a woman out on several dates. He is meticulously polite. He pays for everything. He sends sweet texts. He avoids any kind of pressure. Outwardly, everything seems perfect. She laughs. She thanks him. She even keeps agreeing to meet. But every time he tries to move closer, she says, "Not yet. I'm not ready." And he thinks, "I'm doing the right thing. I'm being respectful. I'll be patient." Meanwhile, in her mind, something very different is happening. She's thinking, "There's no spark. He's nice, but I don't feel it. I don't want him the way I should." And then, to his heartbreak, she starts dating another man. Maybe that man is less polite, maybe less nice, but his intent is crystal clear. His energy is undeniable, and without reasoning, she feels it. Does it sting? Of course. Is it fair? The universe doesn't care about fairness. Human attraction operates by its own laws. And weak, insecure energy simply does not spark desire. So what's the fix? How do you escape this trap? You return to Stoicism's core principle. Control what you can. Release what you cannot. Stop desperately seeking approval. Stop waiting for the perfect green light. Because the more you wait, the more uncertainty you project. Instead, connect deeply with your own desire, without shame, without apology. Understand this. Stoicism is not about repressing emotions or becoming cold. It's about mastering them. It's about commanding your inner landscape. When you can feel your desire fully, without letting it control you, without needing her immediate response to validate it, that's when you become magnetic. She notices it not through your words, not through grand gestures, but through your presence, how you move, how you look at her, how you step into a room without apologizing for existing, without apologizing for desiring her. That kind of man isn't weak. That kind of man is the opposite of weak. And paradoxically, that is exactly why she wants intimacy with him. He builds an internal fortress of self-worth that no rejection can shatter. And in doing so, he transforms himself from a man waiting to be chosen into a man who chooses, and is chosen in return. Pillar 2. Lead, don't ask. Here's a brutal truth most men never want to face. When you ask for permission to move forward in intimacy, you instantly surrender your power. And once you surrender that power, attraction slips away like water through your fingers. But hold on, let's clear something up. This is not about being pushy. This is not about arrogance. And it's certainly not about disrespect. A real man never forces himself onto anyone. This is not about ignoring her boundaries. What we're talking about is a much deeper truth about attraction. Female desire is primal. It's reactive. It doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to leadership. A woman wants to feel, deep in her core, that you are capable, that you know what you're doing, that you have direction, that you have confidence. She doesn't want to be the one guiding you step by step, like a teacher correcting a student, or worse, like a parent teaching a child. Because the moment she feels she has to take that role, the polarity collapses, and with it, her attraction collapses too. Think about it. When a man nervously asks, "Can I kiss you?" or "Do you want a hug?" or the most fatal one of all, "Is it okay if we sleep together?" Do you know what she actually hears? She doesn't hear respect. She hears hesitation. She hears insecurity. And in her subconscious, she feels one thing: a lack of leadership. And nothing kills desire faster than a lack of leadership. Why is that? Because female desire is fundamentally reactive. She mirrors what you project. If you project hesitation, she closes up. If you project uncertainty, she withdraws. But if you project calm confidence, if your presence communicates that you know where you're going and you're leading the moment, she responds with desire. It's an almost instantaneous energetic exchange. And this is exactly why Stoicism becomes a powerful ally. A Stoic man, rooted in his principles and in mastery of himself, doesn't need to ask for permission to lead. He simply leads, calmly, naturally, confidently. If she doesn't want it, she has every right to communicate that. And here's the difference. The Stoic man doesn't fall apart if she says no. He doesn't collapse emotionally. He respects her boundary, but he never loses his composure or his inner strength. But here's the paradox that will change the way you see everything. Most of the time, she does want it. She was waiting for you to step up. She was waiting for you to show leadership. She was waiting for you to take that first step. But when you hesitated, when you asked instead of acted, you handed her the burden of leadership. And in that moment, the spark died. Let me give you an image that might feel familiar. You're at your place with her. The night is going beautifully. The conversation flows. She's laughing. Her eyes are shining. Her body is leaning closer. The air is thick with unspoken possibility. You feel the connection, the pull between you. The moment is ripe. But then you break the magic by nervously blurting out, "Can I kiss you?" In that instant, her face shifts. Maybe her brow furrows. Maybe her smile tightens. Maybe she subtly leans back. And she says something like, "Not yet," or "I'm not sure." And just like that, the fragile spark of escalating desire is gone. Now, here's the thing. She probably was ready. She was waiting. She wanted you to lead. But your self-doubt introduced her doubt. You passed the responsibility back to her. And with that, the polarity flipped. Now imagine the opposite scenario. You're fully grounded in yourself. Present in the moment. You meet her gaze. You hold it. There's a flicker of desire in your eyes. Not frantic, but calm and steady. You move toward her slowly, deliberately, without saying a word. She feels your intent in her body before her mind even processes it. The air grows charged. The tension builds deliciously. And when you finally close the space between you, it feels natural, inevitable. That is leadership. That is what provokes desire. And notice, it's not about being aggressive. It's not about ignoring her comfort. It's about trusting yourself so deeply that you can read the moment without begging for reassurance. You're not asking because you don't need her words to confirm what her body is already communicating. Now, let's get even clearer about why this matters. When you ask, you make her responsible for the moment. You place the burden of decision on her shoulders. But attraction doesn't thrive when she has to lead. Attraction thrives when you lead and she chooses to follow. This is the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. It's also the reason why so many nice guys find themselves confused. They think asking is polite. They think waiting endlessly is respectful. They think checking in at every micro step shows they care. But what it really communicates is, "I'm uncertain. I don't know my path. I need you to validate me before I can act." And that, my friend, kills attraction in seconds. Now, let's connect this back to Stoicism. A Stoic man doesn't crumble if she says no. If she pulls back, he doesn't spiral into self-pity or anger. He remains calm, composed, grounded. He respects her choice, but he also respects himself. And that, paradoxically, makes him even more attractive. Because here's the irony most men never see. Women are not actually turned off by the man who makes the first move. They are turned off by the man who hesitates, who asks instead of leads, who makes them carry the responsibility of reassurance. Let's visualize this one more time, because it's so important. You're with her. The moment is alive with energy. In one version of the story, you lean in timidly and ask, "Is it okay if I kiss you?" The moment collapses. In the other version, you lean in with calm. Silent confidence. You don't ask, you show, you lead, and her body responds with desire. That's the difference between being the man she forgets and being the man she fantasizes about. And this isn't manipulation. This isn't a trick. This is congruence. It's alignment between your inner state and your outer action. It's what happens when you cultivate the inner mastery Stoicism teaches: control of yourself, mastery of your emotions, clarity of your intent. When you live in congruence, your leadership feels natural, not forced. She feels safe, but also thrilled. She feels your calm intent, and she desires it. This is why leading, instead of asking, is the second pillar of igniting her attraction. And once you understand this, once you embody it, you'll never again fall into the trap of waiting endlessly, begging for signs, or handing her the burden of leadership. You'll step into your role with confidence. You'll provoke desire by the way you move, the way you look at her, the way you lead without words. That's the power of Pillar 2, lead, don't ask. Pillar 3, the silent language of her body. This is where so many men still stumble. They try to approach intimacy like a math equation. They believe if they're consistently good, unfailingly patient, endlessly attentive, then, like checking boxes on a form, desire will appear. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Desire doesn't work that way. Desire is not logical. It doesn't obey formulas. It doesn't emerge from tallying up good deeds. Desire is primal. It's visceral. It's a force that moves through the body long before the brain catches up. This is why a woman can clearly articulate what she thinks she wants: a stable man, a respectful man, a sensitive man, and then, in the very next moment, find herself deeply, inexplicably attracted to someone who seems to be the opposite on paper. Why? Because desire doesn't flow from the head, it flows from the body. Here's the paradox. If you take her words literally and build your entire approach on that checklist, you'll lose. Again and again, you'll end up frustrated. You'll hear her say, "I'm just not ready," only to watch her give herself fully to another man days later. You'll think, "What happened? I did everything right. Why him and not me?" And the answer is stark in its simplicity. Desire is not reasoned into existence. It is provoked. Think about it this way. You can be the most polite man in the room. You can be generous, attentive, endlessly available. You can treat her like royalty. And still, she may feel nothing. No spark, no pull. Why? Because your energy was too safe, too transparent, too predictable. You didn't stir her body. You didn't awaken anything inside her. And without that, there is no real desire. So what provokes desire? Not logic, not argument, not waiting like a saint for her approval. Desire is provoked through presence, through grounded masculinity, through mystery, through the subtle, magnetic pull of a man who knows exactly who he is and doesn't need her to complete him. And here's where we must talk about your sexual energy, because it speaks louder than any words you will ever say. Many men obsess over finding the perfect line, the wittiest remark, the smoothest phrase. They think if they just say it right, they'll unlock her attraction. But they miss the most fundamental truth. Your body, your presence, your energy have already spoken long before your words do. If your internal energy is misaligned, if you're filled with insecurity, she'll feel it. You could say, "I'm confident, I'm masculine, I know what I want." But if your eyes flicker with doubt, if your body language is tight and defensive, if your energy silently screams, "Please validate me," then your words mean nothing. And here's the uncomfortable reality. Many modern men have repressed their natural, healthy sexual energy so deeply that they no longer know how to express it authentically. They bury it under layers of politeness. They hide it beneath the mask of being the nice guy. They smother it with endless good behavior. And then they wonder, confused, why women don't respond, why the chemistry never builds, why they're consistently placed in the friend category. Brother, it's time for a wake-up call. You are not here to hide your desire. You are not here to beg for scraps of attention. You are here to learn how to master your energy, how to feel it, contain it, and direct it without letting it own you. And let's be crystal clear. Mastery is not aggression. It's not impulsive or disrespectful. Mastery means you can experience intense desire, but you are not enslaved by it. You can feel the fire within, but you hold the reins. And that level of control radiates outward in every gesture, Every glance, every movement. A woman's intuition is powerful. She knows instantly if a man is desperate for her attention or if he is grounded in himself. You don't need to shout your desire. You don't even need to declare it. She will feel it in the steadiness of your gaze, in the quiet confidence of your posture, in the way you carry yourself. But if your energy comes from anxiety, from the subconscious plea of, "I hope she chooses me," she will sense it and shut down. Instinctively, she withdraws. And that's why Stoicism isn't just useful here, it's essential. The Stoic man isn't cold. He isn't emotionless. In fact, he feels deeply, but he masters what he feels. He doesn't get swept away. He doesn't let rejection define him. He isn't passive either. He stands firmly centered in who he is. He knows what he wants. He lives it, breathes it, embodies it. That's why his sexual energy, when mastered, becomes irresistible. If you repress it, you become invisible. If you lose control of it, you appear desperate or predatory. But if you master it, if you channel it, direct it, and contain it, she will feel it in the best possible way. And when she feels it, she desires it. Let's bring it full circle. Pillar 1 taught you the energy she craves: strength, clarity, confidence. Pillar 2 revealed the brutal truth: lead. Don't ask. Leadership is what ignites her attraction. Pillar 3 showed you the hidden truth: desire isn't logical. It's provoked through presence, energy, and mastery of yourself. When you embody these 3 pillars, everything changes. You stop begging, you stop waiting, you stop doubting, and instead, you start provoking, you start igniting. You awaken something inside her that logic could never touch. That's the difference between being the man she forgets and being the man she craves long after you've left the room. If this message resonated with you, don't just nod and move on. Put it into practice. Start cultivating your inner strength. Start mastering your energy. Step into leadership instead of waiting for permission. And watch how everything in your relationships shifts before your eyes. And if you found value here, I invite you to go deeper with us. Hit that like button to let us know this message spoke to you. Subscribe so you never miss another lesson on masculinity, stoicism, and attraction. Drop a comment. What part of today's video hit you the hardest? And most importantly, share this video with a brother who needs to hear it. Together, let's build a generation of men who stop begging for intimacy and instead ignite it.